Alrighty guys, Ween Bean here. This is the video I was talking about where I would do the, talking about Genkidama Matsuri in the supposed leaks and just, what could possibly even be showing up at this event. We do know that at least there's supposed to be two anime announcements, and Nozawa, and the voice of Goku in the Japanese dubbed or whatever you want, like the original, how it's supposed to be watched, whatever you want to call it, the original. And then Ioku, who is the guy that's, I guess, basically running it now. I think he won the rights battle, I believe. I'm not too for sure on that, so don't quote me on that. I could be completely wrong there. But those two are supposed to show there, and then during the first event, which is literally how it starts, is supposedly an anime announcement. It's like 45 minutes long. Keep in mind, this whole event is going to be like 8 hours or something like that. It's going to be very long, all taking place on, I think, Sunday in Japan, so Saturday for us in the States. I'm on the East Coast. I don't know exactly what time it starts. Like, I haven't done the time change. I'm going to do it, the day before, like I always do. But, where I just Google it. I don't do the math in my head. But anyways, yeah, that's basically, what's coming up. And this is single-handedly, at least since I've been alive. I mean, Super was a huge announcement too, but this is like the biggest event that we've had, at least that I can think of. Like, Super was still in that weird place where, like, the internet was popping, was very popular then, but, like, I don't remember for Super having, like, an event. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember just seeing it on Twitter the day that it came out. Now, it could have had an event, but that was also, anime wasn't super popular back then. Like, it was popular, but, you were still, like, kind of weird if you watched it or whatever. It's not what it is now, where we get these events, anime games are shown off at award shows and stuff, or, stuff like that. Anyways, I digress. We have a couple things of what we think it might be. Now, if you've been online for the past, I feel like it's been like a month since the rumor or the leak, whatever you really can't even call it a leak because it's not confirmed. But I guess leak and rumor are kind of the same thing if you think about it, really. But I don't know. I always take a leak as like something that comes out and then they confirm it like an hour later. It's like, yeah, that, like the Avengers Doomsday trailer with Captain America in it, Steve Rogers. It got leaked, and then like everyone was like, oh, maybe this is AI, blah, 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 and then they dropped it like a couple days later, So like that to me is a leak, like something that ends up becoming true. So right now we'll just call them, I guess, leaks. It doesn't matter. This is a stupid tangent, but anyways, the big rumor right now is that we're going to get like a Super remake, and then I think people are hoping for like a Daima movie. Now for me, what I would personally want, Super is about to be 10 years old. It's been like 8 years since it's off the air. 10 years, over 10 years, honestly, since it started, because it started in 2015, if I'm not mistaken. But I think remaking it is pretty stupid. Mainly just because, while yes, at times it didn't look the best, and they definitely in the beginning had a very terrible, like, schedule and release, and, whatever you want to call it. I mean, we all know the memes of episode 5 and stuff, and the Resurrection F arc looked like shit at times, and, whatever. But, I do think, like, that remaking that, of all things in Dragon Ball that needs a remake, that is the last one. I would be more happy, as much as first of all, I am to the point where I am tired of them rehashing stuff. I'm tired of Frieza coming back. When the Black Frieza arc happens, like, I'm gonna sit there and watch it, and don't get me wrong, when he pulled up in the granola arc, that shit was hard. It was cool, Mad Aura, whatever. But I'm tired of that. I'm tired, like, Cell Max. I'm tired of Cell coming, Cell came back, even though it wasn't, you have the argument, oh, it wasn't really Cell, but, whatever. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm tired of the rehashing. Daima was a cool experience. Could it have been better? Definitely, 100%. And like, sick, they gave Vegeta Super Saiyan 3. That was new, because we hadn't seen him in that form, besides in fucking Raging Blast and Heroes. But then, like, Goku getting this new Super Saiyan 4. Again, they did at least change the design a decent bit. and stuff. He's a lot bigger than the original Super Saiyan 4. But again, it's rehashes. And if they do a Daima movie, we're gonna get either Super Saiyan 4 Vegito or Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. One of the two is coming out. If we get a Daima movie. And honestly, if we get a Daima movie, I bet they find some way to make them kids again. And then we're going to get a mini version of the Fusion and a tall version of the Fusion, because everything is to sell, to make merchandise and to sell toys. I get that. But I am extremely tired of them rehashing stuff. The only other thing that I would care if they rehashed is just because with Black Frieza, we know that he was training in like a hyperdolic time chamber sort of thing. So if they brought Cooler in, whatever. I've never been like Cooler's cool, no pun intended, but like I don't give a shit if he comes back or doesn't. That doesn't affect me. I don't lose any sleep if Cooler never comes back. But I want new shit. Like I want, if we're getting a new anime, I want Super 2. That's what everyone has always dubbed it. I want the Moro arc. I want the Granola arc. I don't want them to redo the arcs I've seen. I don't want them. The only arc I would be fine with them redoing, and honestly, if they just wanted to do it for this year so they could have more time to work on the Moro arc, I would be fine if they redid Dragon Ball Super Superhero, just because we only have that in CG, and it'd be cool to see Gohan in like 2D animation, like Beast Gohan in that, and maybe they could add some more scenes. But again, I don't really want that. That's just the only, like, if they come on there and they're like, yes, Dragon Ball Super 2 this summer, superhero arc and like the pre-superhero stuff that we got in the manga, and then 2027 we get the Moro stuff. I'm fine with that if that's what comes out. But if we're talking like a full remake and what the leaks suggest, where we won't get that shit until 2028, brother, I get, like, maybe they'll add some of the manga stuff, like that's cool and everything for sure. I've read the manga, I've watched all of Super, like that's sick and shit. But like at the same time, dog, I don't want to rewatch this anime that I've rewatched a million times. Maybe not everyone's like me, obviously I rewatch Dragon Ball, all of it, every year, because I just love watching it. I just love it all. But like I don't, cool, you can consolidate the super, or not the super, the tournament arc, tournament of power, make some of the shit look flashier, add some of the manga stuff, cool. That's all sick and well. We would get new moves for characters in games. Dokkan would have more material, because I love Dokkan, that's why I bring it up. That would be awesome. But I don't want that though. Like I don't want to sit here and watch another anime that I've already watched, that I can just go back and watch the select episodes. Instead, I'm gonna have to sit here and be like, well, yeah, they're gonna redrop Goku going UI and it's gonna look a lot better, but I've got to wait till 2027. So, just guess I'm gonna keep watching the old one. You know what I'm like trying to say? Like it just feels like I would rather, with how much time off they've had. We haven't gotten anything since well, I mean, we got Daima, but we haven't gotten anything in a while. Super 2 has been rumored forever now. It should have been worked on. Like the Moro stuff, there should be really no excuse that we don't get, I think, the Moro arc. I'm not going to be disappointed though if we don't, because I've already set my expectations just not to expect to get that. Like I do think that the Super remake is honestly what is going to come to fruition. And again, I will watch it. I will always support anything Dragon Ball unless it's like absolutely just pure garbage. But it's just like, I've seen people split on this Super remake, and it's like, do we not forget when Super came out and they said they were redoing Battle of Gods and ROF? Like nobody watched those episodes. That already, like, because we'd already seen the fucking movie. I didn't watch those. I didn't start watching Super like when it was airing until the U6 tournament. Now, of course, when I've rewatched, I went back and I've watched them, like once or twice. But I usually now I skip them and I just watch the movies. I don't like ROF anyways, so like I usually just watch Battle of Gods and I skip ROF. But regardless, I do think it's probably going to be a Super remake. If they are doing any remake, I would love it if they just remade OG Dragon Ball. I know there's no difference between Dragon Ball and Z in the manga, but I'm just putting emphasis that we really just need an original Dragon Ball remake. I would love the Z portion to also be remade as well at some point. And honestly, if any of them were to get remade, it would either be Super or Z. OG Dragon Ball is never probably going to get remade. At least not for a while, just because I think OG Dragon Ball, while it's very good and I love it, it's one of my favorite parts of Dragon Ball. I love almost all Dragon Ball parts equally, but obviously I can differentiate which one's better and which one's not. I love OG Dragon Ball. I love Kid Goku. I love the fights. I do love the emphasis on the special attacks. Like, Goku does a Kamehameha. He don't spam like 4 of them in a fight in OG Dragon Ball. That's a move he uses maybe twice in when he's a child in like one of the tournaments, and then after that he's like kind of gassed. So I do like all that shit, but yeah, I think if anything got remade, I would like it to be that, but I think OG Dragon Ball is a product of its time. I just don't think that kids these days maybe wouldn't like it. I don't know. It's just everything I feel like has to be just like aura moments and hype beast moments nowadays. Like, you've got to get to it quick. And don't get me wrong, I do think OG Dragon Ball, they have some of those hype moments, but like the beginning of it, that Pilaf arc, people are going to be snoozing. You could consolidate that arc down to like 3-4 episodes, but people are going to be snoozing, and that's, some people only give episodes like 3 or 4 chances, like, 3 or 4 episodes. So it's going to be hard. It would be hard, I think, until you got to the tournament. But even then, like, I don't know with the current, like, with other animes like JJK and flashy shows like that. Hell's Paradise 2 just dropped, or season 2 of it. Solo Leveling, is out, not out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's out there. There's a lot more, like, if people are just wanting fighting, like, they're just going to skip this. It's like, oh, well, this isn't super, why isn't Goku a Super Saiyan? Skip, bye. So that's just like an issue, that they would have. I really wouldn't, I don't know how I would feel if they just came out and straight up said they're continuing Daima. I don't think I'd be opposed to it. At least it would be something somewhat new, just because we don't even know that much about the Demon Realm. Like, they would have more to explore. I know we went through all the worlds, but like we maybe put our toes in 2 for 3 seconds and then left. So, maybe they could do something there. I wouldn't be too opposed to that. I'll pretty much take really whatever I can get. Like, I just don't really care for a super remake, but like, I want Dragon Ball back, so I will take whatever. Now, the movie, I think everyone is kind of sold on the idea that it will be a Daima movie. The Mora arc is quite long, but I do think you could honestly split that into two movies. I think there is like enough fighting. Like, when they pull up to Planet Namek, like, I feel like you could elongate that fight. Maybe, I don't know. I'd have to go back and read it. Because I mean, they do fight on Namek a little bit, and the Grand Supreme Kai, takes over like Boo's body and fights him for a bit. And I feel like you could have that and then leave with Vegeta training on Yardrat and Goku starting to train with Miras, and then pick up with the criminals breaking out, in the second movie, and it's like they're on Earth. Like, it ends with the criminals breaking out. We see Goku and Vegeta training. Second movie is that all that happening, and obviously the final fight with Moro. You can maybe do that. I don't think they're going to do that, though. I think people would be really pissed if that's honestly what happened to. I mean, so just wouldn't be that upset about it, just because it's like it would just get a huge budget, and I want that Moro and Yubai Goku fight to look phenomenal. I think it will look phenomenal no matter what. They know that's going to be like a break the internet type moment again, but I do want that. I do want that to be really, really good. So I wouldn't mind if it was a movie portion, but maybe they can just do a season. It can end how I said the first movie would, like, for the season, and the movie would be the, that fight, whatever. So yeah, but I think the movie, I think if we're going to do a movie, I think it's either going to be something completely new, or it is going to be Daima, which is also, again, would be somewhat completely new, but you know what I mean, like a completely new story that we don't even know about. So yeah, that's really what it is. With all the I'm basically just going into this just with, like, happy that something might come out. A lot of people on Twitter have been talking about today where, like, oh, what if we don't, what if it is just nothing? What if they just talk about merchandise? But, like, we know for a fact that they've said 2 anime announcements. Now, if they were just using that as buzzwords and it shows up and they never talk about it, then I think the Dragon Ball IP is going to go in the mud for a while, because that's going to piss a lot of people off. I will be very disappointed if that happens. And then the second big thing or the third big thing, I guess, that everyone's talking about is the game announcement. Now, I'm going to keep this part very short. And after this, the video's we're wrapping this up. I'm just going to keep the game part very short. It's got to be Xenoverse 3. I don't think there's any game or anything that they can show off that they would hype up this much if it wasn't like they know people want Xenoverse 3. I want Xenoverse 3. The only other thing I could think of is maybe a Dragon Ball FighterZ 2. But with Marvel Tokon coming out, I just don't see that happening. And I don't see it. I don't see like ArcSys working on like a right now working on a Jump Force Fighters thing and them announcing it at a Dragon Ball event. I think that would be very weird. So I think it's definitely got to be Xenoverse 3. Other things I would love would be like a Boo's Fury type game, you know, some type of like I know we obviously had Kakarot, like an action RPG. I guess they could show Dragon Ball Z Kakarot or Dragon Ball Super Kakarot, because obviously Kakarot just wrapped up the Daima part of their DLC and they haven't touched really anything super. Yes, they did touch ROF and Battle of Gods, but technically those are Z movies, and I really don't even want to say they touched Battle of Gods, because you fight on Beerus's planet and Future Trunks shows up. They didn't even really do Battle of Gods. Those first 2 DLCs were kind of butt. But anyways, I think also just now people have gotten in their head that it's gonna be Xenoverse 3. So if it's not Xenoverse 3, I think people are gonna be very, very disappointed. I think the only thing that would maybe make people not disappointed is if it's a Dragon Ball FighterZ 2 or maybe just a completely original game. I don't think they're gonna go up there and just show us new Sparking Zero DLC, because remember they did say that they were gonna drop more of that. I think that's gonna be a thing they're gonna say for Battle Hour. I don't think they're just gonna show us gameplay of Daima SSJ4 Goku coming to Fighters up there. I think that would be a waste of just saying that as an announcement. I think all that stuff is going to definitely be saved for Battle Hour. I think it is either going to be a completely new game, like standalone new adventure, or it is going to be Xenoverse 3. I expect it to be Xenoverse 3. I'm not going to lie, I will be a little disappointed if it's not. And I also think if we don't see Xenoverse 3 here, I think it's probably time that we just go ahead and say that game's probably never happening. I know we've had the leaks where it said it's been in development for a long time. They had to like build it back up from the ground up. But I think if they don't show it off here, unless they're just like saving it to where it's like, oh, it's coming out within the year, I don't see another event they're saving it for besides like maybe Summer Games Fest or something. But like, this is your Dragon Ball event. Why would you not show, like, they know, like Xenoverse, they just passed like 10 million copies on that game, right? If I'm not mistaken, it's one of the best, if not the best selling Xenoverse or Dragon Ball game. Like, that game is you know, that game has motion. And I don't know, they have shown recently that they want to branch off into other games, so maybe like the new game could be like some sort of battle royale or like a roguelike or something, you know, since we got Genshin Squadron shit. I don't know what the original one would be. Personally, I would want like a Boo's Fury, like action RPG type game. Or even if they remade that, I don't want them to, I just can't, I wouldn't think that they're going to do a section standalone for a game for a remake of a Game Boy Advance game. I think there's 3 options: a completely new game. Xenoverse 3, I think, is the top option. I think the second goes completely new game. And then I think, honestly, but this is like the lowest of low chance, since they brought back Sparking Zero, we could get a new Budokai game. I do not think that is happening yet. I do think eventually one day they will do a new Budokai game, honestly, especially because once Sparking Zero came out, people were like, oh my god, let's get a new Budokai game. But I wouldn't put too much stock into that being there right now. I think it has to be Xenoverse 3. I don't think there is any way we walk away from this event without Xenoverse 3 being announced. Does it come out this year? I don't excuse me, I don't know. But I don't think there's any way that it's not Xenoverse 3. But, you know, let me know in the comments below your guys' thoughts, what you guys want to see, how you felt about the leaks, what game you would want it to be. You know, are you hyped for the event? Are you going to watch it? You know, will you be disappointed if this doesn't get announced? What do you know, just let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next video, where I'll probably be talking about what happened there. So I'll see you guys in the future. Bye-bye.